This is Daryl Martin with ApexInvesting.com doing a Be the Sniper or Be the Target webinar. And we're going to talk about, it's your choice. Make it today. We're going to go in and do chart review today. We haven't done that in a few weeks. So we're going to go through today's trades and look at them piece by piece. Which ones were valid, which ones weren't, and how things turned out. As with anything in trading, know what you do before you're doing it. There's risk involved in investing. A reminder for you. You got the 50% off code for ApexTraderFunding.com, which is Apex50. Make sure to take advantage of that. So, and congratulations to Steve, who just said he made $6,485 in 3 days with 6 funded accounts. Way to go. And also, tomorrow is the last day for the $1 million account giveaway, where we're giving away 10 $100,000 14K accounts. Okay? So if you buy an evaluation or do a reset, if you buy a new evaluation or do a reset since back in December to now, from the start date, then we will be doing that drawing. I'll post it on the 6th on Facebook and YouTube. So make sure to follow us on Facebook.com/ApexTraderFunding and YouTube.com/ApexTraderFunding in order to see the results of that. We'll also send you a help desk ticket to let you know if you won. So today was a fantastic day. The market just crashed down. Bonds were, flying up. And that's today's market results. So pretty nice way to, start the new year. And had some pretty big days this week. Yeah, a couple bucks. So with that, let's get into chart review. Are y'all ready to get into some sniper chart review? You just start an evaluation, you should get an email, but also you can just log in and all your information that you need is right there. All right, so we're looking at the right side of the chart here. And we're looking down for these indicators right here that let us know that there is a potential trade setup, okay? So we'll start moving forward. It started off pretty slow this morning. Didn't have a lot of setups. It was really fast. So, but slow as far as setups go. But the market was really just flying. Up and down, 10 points was nothing. Get it going until there we go. There's our first potential setup. So right here we have a TX short. So does anybody see a TX short? Is that a valid trade? Not valid. No trade. That is correct. There's no valid setup there. Doesn't meet any of our rules. Alright, so let's keep going. We got another TX long. And can anybody see it? Is there anything there? Nope, no valid setup. So just being patient, waiting for a good setup. And this is one of those days where a lot of the setups worked even if they weren't valid, but there's plenty of days where they don't. So you always want to remain patient and wait for the good setup to come along. Because consistency requires discipline. Got the market flying down here, starting to push away from settlement after it oscillates around it. Give a nice simplicity short there. Okay, we had let's see, that one right here. Was that a valid TX short right there? No, close, but not enough. Had to be at least 85% or less. What about right here with the TXF? Is that valid? Nope, not a valid trade. So no valid trades yet. We're just in the first 10 minutes of trading here. Okay, now we got a TX long right here. Was this a valid long? Why was the TXF not a valid short? Because it did not line up with DR. If they're not valid setups, it's because they don't meet the rules. Like, they don't meet any of the rules. So, right here, the TXF was not an ETX. This is also not an ETX. Because it's not within 2 ticks of an existing paw or mini magnet. The ZOI formed on that bar, I believe. Let me zoom in. Maybe if it formed on the previous bar. Zoom in. Nope, it formed on that bar, so it was not an existing ZOI. $9.46 trade. Right here, nope. DR was not high enough. DR needs to be at 1 or higher. TX means trapped Xbox. So it means you have trapped orders, which is the blue marker you see there, with an exhaustion box. So trapped, what we call trapped Xbox. So, and for this green marker down here, we'd be looking for the DR indicator, which is this, to be a greater than 1. It was not, so therefore that was not a valid trade. Over here, we would need it to have, I mean, it just doesn't meet any of the rules, so it would not be a valid trade. Moving forward. Lots of good movement on simplicities today. Maybe we should pull up a simplicity chart later. All right, we got another TXF. Is DR higher than 1? Nope, so not a valid trade. DR again is this indicator down here. This red and green indicator. And TXF means TX filtered, a trapped X box with filtered DR. It'll show up as green down in the bottom there. Okay, right here we got a TX trade, but with a 55%, is that a valid setup by itself? No. So just sitting here waiting on some valid setups. Like I said, a lot of these would have worked today, almost all of them. What about this one right here? Was this one valid? Nope, was not HD. Okay, now we got an SLZ trade. Is this a valid SLZ trade? See who gets it right. So SLZ means star. There's a star, a low volume score. I think that means less than 13. With a ZOI on the bar or the bar before that. And it had all 3. So it lit up as blue. We have a major level, which is the dynamic magnet. And it has to be within 2 ticks of that dynamic magnet. So it is. Therefore, that makes it a valid SLZ. So let's see. Trade goes down 2 bars. Profit taken. And the trade won. And we entered 1 tick below the low of this bar. Took profit right there. It is going to the dynamic magnet, but SLZs are allowed to be within 2 ticks of a major level going into them. I trade NQ any time of day, night or day. So you can trade that at night as well. Yep. All right, we got a TX long here. So I want you to look at this one because this one's one looking left is going to serve you well. Okay? When you... Does everybody see this level right here? Where the market keeps bouncing off of it. And then finally it broke through. Does everybody see that? So that's exactly. So Chris just said it. Old support becomes new resistance. Okay? So and often you'll hear me say, look left to trade right. So knowing that that's old support, what do you think is a high probability of this market doing when it comes back up to that previous support level, which is now becoming a resistance level? What's a high probability that it's going to do? Bounce off of it. Exactly. Does that make sense why it would do that? Like go up to it, test it, and then come back down? So would you want to take a trade going long right into resistance that had just been a very established support line? And I mean, we got 2 mini magnets like further supporting that support line. Like, would you want to buy into that? Like, or are you looking at possibly getting rejected and it coming right back down on you? Okay, so this would have been a ETX trade, an enhanced TX trade, and it's what we call a level 2 trade. Okay? In Thrive, I explained what level 2, 3, and 4 trades are. Level 1s are breaking the rules. Level 2s are just following the rules without paying attention to the surroundings. And then level 3 and 4 is using the surroundings and multiple things to confirm your trade. And you want to really be in that 3 or 4 zone. So you definitely want to check out Thrive. If you hop in the room in the morning at any time, people will be telling you definitely take Thrive. So I would not take this trade because it's going right back into that support. What was support now becomes a resistance level. Does that make sense? It is against DR. However, you can take an ETX against DR. But I wouldn't take it into resistance. So it turns around and would have lost. You have crocodile eyes. If you're looking left, let's see. If we go up 2 bars, no crocodile eyes in the way. All right, so let's go forward. Now we got another TX. Now, sort of in the same boat here, aren't we? I mean, we got sort of 2 to 3 bar chop going on, and we're going into that resistance level. Going into the wall. Like, are you going to take that ETX right there? No. Does that make sense? That's the looking left to trade light, like level 3 and 4 trading. Is anybody lost or confused about why I would say I would not want to take the trade going right into that? So 2 in a row that you could definitely save yourself a lot of money. Plus you have the chop. All right, that one would have worked out. Would you have rather have taken both of those and one lost and one won, or rather just miss out on both? Yeah, miss out on both. Don't take it if it's not a great setup. All right, so let's keep looking. All right, we got a SLZ right here. It's coming off all of these dynamic magnets. Yes, very good trade, very good setup. And that's a star right there for acceleration with the low volume score, showing it's actually slowing down, and a zone of interest, meaning that there's a battle right there before it turns around. And it's off a major level, which a dynamic magnet is a major level. And the trade is profitable. So you actually have some room there where you could have trailed it down to like the next dynamic magnet. Remember, if you start doing level 3 and 4s, you can take more than 10 ticks at times. All right, we got a TX long here. Do we have a valid trade? Does not meet any of our rules, so therefore it is not a long trade. Yeah, DR is red. I mean, it's not a TXF. Yeah, going right into a dev. That's a great point, Chris. Be really careful on trades going into devs because the market likes to oscillate around them. All right, we got another TX long. Is it a valid setup? Nope, not an ODD. It didn't make a new low. And it's not an ATX because it didn't lay a mini magnet. It's not a double TX, or you'd see red at the bottom for the detector down here. And you do have what's called crocodile eyes. You have one. You don't have two. You need two between your entry and your take profit. But not a valid setup. All right, we got another little TX short here. Coil chop. Very good, Chris. Crocodile eyes are the clusters, these yellow blocks. If you have two of them between your entry and your take profit, you don't want to take the trade because the market is likely to chop around. We talk about those a lot in Thrive. So coil chop, not a valid trade. All right, now we got another TXF to go, or TX to go short. Nope, that's right. Not a valid trade. Doesn't meet any of the rules. So it's cool because once you get the rules down, if you do market review like I'm doing right now, where you go back and go, okay, here's a trade. It does just meet the rules, yes or no. And it allows you to actually have your time for your brain to absorb it to get that faster muscle memory whenever you're trading live. Now we got an SLZ. Is it a valid setup? Yeah, very much so. So it's within 2 points coming off of one, and it's within 1 point of, or within 2 ticks of a major level. Right there on that wall. So yes, very valid setup. And there it goes. Profitable trade. There's our 3 and done. Please explain SLZs. Yeah, again, there's a star, which means acceleration. So it's accelerating down. There's a low volume score saying it's slowing down. And then there's a zone of interest, which is one of these purple or teal lines on that bar or the bar before that. So if those 3 things happen, a blue detector will pop up at the bottom. If the bar reverses. So it's speeding up, but reversing with a battle happening is the quickest summary I can give you. Exactly. Going through this every day will help you get the rules down 100 times faster than just sitting there and trading live. Because when it's live, you don't have time to think about it. It doesn't matter about the levels. I mean, that has 2 levels, one pulling it and one pushing it. So I would have no problem taking it. SLZs are usually very strong. So if you're having a problem with live, 1, make sure you do what I'm talking about tonight, like do this review over and over again. 2, check out the Chart Trader add-on or the Markers Plus add-on for the automation. It helps out a lot with speed. So before I continue, what happens when we have 3 trades? What do we do? Three and done. Stop. You can make 6 figures. You can make about 250 grand a year. Building up 1 contract slowly up to 7 contracts over a period of like 7 or 8 months. You can make a couple hundred grand a year just doing 3 and done. You don't have to take a lot of trades to be profitable. In fact, you're better off not taking a lot of trades. All right, we got a TX long. DR is green, but it's not high enough, so that doesn't help us. It's not an HD trade because you have to have 2 pullbacks. This is the first pullback since the most recent low. So since that's the first pullback, it's not a valid HD trade. It have to be the second pullback. So not a valid setup. You need 2 pullbacks for a HD trade. Yep. You only need 1 pullback on an OD trade. Exactly. You have to have something to compare it with. It has to be getting, basically, the reason is it has to push down, but not as far on more volume. So if it pushed down and then it pushed down on even more volume but didn't go as far, then it's more likely to continue. But this is pushed down, but pushed down compared to what? So you have to have 2 pullbacks. So that way it pushed down but didn't go as low and it did it on more volume. See here, waiting on the next detector to pop up. So what is this? Yeah, an ODD trade. And, well, it's not actually an ETX because a DEB doesn't count as a OP level. It does have an obstruction, but it's still an ODD. So would this be a level 2 or 3 trade? Be a level 2, right? Because it doesn't have anything else going in its favor. So it does happen to work out, but you are going right into that dynamic magnet, which, you know, if you're wanting to be as cautious as possible, then stick with your 3 and 4 level trades. Actually, the higher DR is, often the more likely it is to reverse. Q&A is live, Carl, so ask it as we go. So everything I'm covering is covered in the tutorial videos on each setup. We have a short video, and then we have a full detailed explanation video on every setup. But if you have questions, just ask them as we're going. The dynamic magnet is made off of the 10-minute charts. It's the top 0.3% bars that have the highest volume on the top 0.3%, or basically a 2.5 deviation. So it's high volume bars and 10-minute bars, which are used by institutional investors. I can show a simplicity early entry. I'll pull up simplicity here in a minute. All right, so do we have a trade here? It's a double TX, but it's against DR. And we definitely are trending. Definitely got crocodile eyes and going into a dynamic magnet. So no trade. Now for prospective users, if you're brand new, the thing to do is sign up for bootcamp for free and go through each of the trainings. Like, you have to do the trainings. And we walk through every setup step by step, piece by piece. And you can hop in the room and you can ask unlimited questions. They're always welcome. As far as turning on or off alerts, you can turn on or off alerts in the OP indicator itself. If you want certain ones on and certain ones not on. Yeah. So this webinar is for new users and for experienced users. But it is assuming that you've watched the basic free education that's there. And even if you haven't, then you're getting some ideas. So when you go back, you're like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Yeah, if you're in the boot camp, you have full access to the charts and all the indicators that I'm showing right now for Sniper. And part of the boot camp walks you through how to set it all up. I have some knowledge in cybersecurity. Not sure what the question's for, but do have some. All right, let's see here. All right, we got a TX short. Is it a valid trade? And not quite an ODD, a little bit too high. Yeah, DR is green. And a lot of times, I see a lot of people saying, well, DR is not the right color, DR is not the right color. DR only matters on a double TX in a range or on a TXF trade. Any other trade, DR doesn't matter on. Again, it only matters on a TXF trade. If it is a TXF, this is going to be green. If it's a double TX, this is going to be red. So that's the only time that DR matters. All right, what about this TX? Nope. What What about this TX? Nope, almost an HD, but again, we need those 2 pullbacks. No, we haven't changed anything from what's on the videos. So yeah, we got a paw laid on a mini magnet, laid on a dynamic magnet. So we have an ETX. And it is profitable. So that means enhanced TX. That's when you have a paw or mini magnet that lays within 2 ticks of another existing paw, mini magnet, ZOI, or I block. And I know this can feel really overwhelming if you're brand new because you're like, oh, all these rules. But if you go through the training and you do these reviews, you'll get it down. And it's worth it. I mean, you've seen how many trades we've won and how many have we lost so far. I can see the orange paw right there. It may be a little hard for you to see, but it's right there. Yeah, what language am I speaking? I am speaking order prints language, not order flow, not footprints, but order prints language. ApexInvesting. Why not short at 10.15? Because it doesn't meet any of the rules. It's not an OD, it's not an HD, it's not an ETX, it's not an FTX, it's not an SLZ, and it's not a third bar swing. If there's not one of those 6, then we don't take it. This doesn't even come close to GMMA guppy moving molting average strategy. Would what work with simplicity? Yeah, I know it seems complex, but once you get it down, it is like so simple because it's either the trade is there or the trade is not. It's not your gut feeling. It's not how do I feel about this trade? Do I want to take this trade? It's like either it meets all the rules or it doesn't meet all the rules. Now, there's plenty of systems out there that are really simple, but do they work? It must be greater than or equal to 1. Okay, the question is, does DR have to be greater than or equal to 1 on TXF and DTX? Only on TXF. It has to be greater than or equal to 1. So do I still use the DOM? Yeah, I pull up the DOM. I like to look at it to see if there's larger. The only thing I look for on the DOM is when there's really large orders, like 3, 4, 5 times the amount of pending orders. When I see that, then that becomes like a wall to me that I want to either take profit before or have my stop behind. And that's about all I use the DOM for. Causes an OP rejection. We go that in Thrive quite a bit, but some summary is you have extremely less volume than on the previous bars at the top of the bar. So if you're looking at the bar in detail, if I had a detailed order print chart opened up, you'd see like high volume, high volume, high volume, and then like nothing. Like it'd go like to like 1 or 2. The DOM helps you see, like you can see pending orders in the market. And so if there's like, let's say at every level you have, 30 orders, but this one level you have 100. Well, it has to break through 100 orders in order to move higher than that price. So I'd want to take profit before that price. or I'd want to have my stop behind it. And I have videos on that in the sniper section. There's a tutorial section on the DOM where I show it. Yeah, to understand all the different colors and everything, you just got to watch the training. There's no way around it. A lot of people just want to open the chart and trade. It's like, this is a profession. This is where you're going to make a living. This is a six-figure income. Spend some time and learn. We let you learn for free. Who else gives you access to their entire system for free? Like for a month, and then $1 for the next month. I mean, that's how much we believe in the system. Like, if you're willing to put the time in, then you'll see how well it works. I mean, most companies make you pay like $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 to even try it out. Relying on their sales pitch. You know, we're just like, hey, come in, try it out. Learn. If you can't get it in 60 days and you need more, then pay. But, you know, if you're doing it right, we think you're going to stay. I've seen people learn all this within, like, go through all the tutorials within like a day or two, and then they went back and they spent a lot of chart review. I mean, I've seen people within a couple weeks. I've seen other people take a few months. So it all depends upon the person and how much time you put in, how many questions you ask, not just here, but also in the trade room. How many charts you post, you'll learn faster. If it's within, Ethan, if it's within 2 ticks of a major level, then you can still take it. When it'll fail is when it's not around a level at all. So you have to have a level for an SLZ. So we don't have coil chop here. So Reggie says that he took a break from Apex trying to find something better. And programs were charging like 6,000 euros. And he said, screw it, let's make 2022 work. He's going to be way more disciplined and diligent this year. So kudos to you. Yes, we do have 3-bar chop. We don't have coil chop. We do have 3-bar chop. Which makes it a no trade. By the way, 3-bar chop, it's 3 bars up, 3 bars down, or 2 up, 2 down, or 2 up, 3 down, or 3 up, 2 down. It's 2 to 3 bars up and down. Next trade at 10:30, okay. Guess I can just speed it up and go. There we go. Okay, do we have a valid trade? Nope. If we had 2 pullbacks, we would have had a nice HD trade, but nope, not 2 pullbacks. All right, what about now? Do we have a trade? We got an ODD and an ETX. So that's a level 3 trade at least. And coming off a dynamic magnet. And coming off a resistance level. It's not almost ODD, it is ODD. So lower low. Lower high, I mean. So ODD means you have a 80% or lower, 85% or lower number than the previous number right here. So this number was like 48.38, and that number is 834. This is 18% of that number. So it went up, didn't break the high with less volume. Oh, HD. Yeah, I'm thinking HD. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to confuse y'all. If it would have made a higher high, it would have been ODD. You're right. I'll get all these questions coming in. So if we made a higher high, this is a good lesson. Let's just say this bar made a higher high, but on less volume, then it would have been an OD trade. Yeah, that's Chris's fault. But do we have an ETX? Yes. There we go. And profitable. Are y'all noticing a trend by following the rules of what's happening? Yeah, we're winning. We're having to be patient. A couple hours can be excruciating. But you just got to be patient. Okay, here we go. Now what do we got? Now we got an ODD trade. So it went further on less volume. So the oscillation detector, which measures the volume in a trend, right there, it went further, but with less volume, telling us to go long. So profitable number 2. Skipped a couple there. Let's see. Okay, not a valid trade. When, on NT7, we used to not have OP history, but with NT8, we can do tick replay, so you have OP history. So not valid. TX trade in coil chop. Not valid. No trade there, not valid. Y'all want to look at some simplicity trades before we wrap up? All right, let me pull that up. We went through quite a few trades here on the sniper chart. If I can get my chart to cooperate. Here we go. The rewind button. I'm back a little too far. All right, so out of the gate this morning, let's see here at 9:35. I think I'm on the right day, making sure. 1-4, yep. JFTs, we only show in Thrive. That's part of Thrive. You can combine Sniper with Simplicity to make it even better, but they're not only taken with Sniper. All right, so we got to get past. I'm trying to get over here. Get it scrolled. 9:35. So we got nothing there. Just got chop going on. Y'all see all this chop, right? So this would have been like what's called an early entry on Sniper, or I mean on Simplicity, because both are green. This line, let me get a little bigger. This is green and this is green, and they're both angling up. And the next bar broke the high by 2 ticks. So that would be an early entry. But would you want to take that right into the top of chop? All right, so you want to pay attention to your chart and your surroundings, right? All right, now both of these angled down, but we're going into the bottom of chop. Is that really the best trade to take? Like right there? And it may have worked out, but was it the best one to take? No. So it did drop. And then it pulled back up. Now, what is it when it pulls back up to within 2 points of the solid line? What is that? That's an LRE, a lower risk entry. So where you put your stop 5 points above and your take profit 10 points below. And that is points. So all right, so let's follow this one. This is a good example. I like this. All right, so we're at 62, so it need to drop to 52. So did we get down to 52? Yeah. So we made 10 points on that LRE. If I'm going to play a breakout on a Simplicity trade, it needs to be breaking out, like the entry needs to be below the breakout, not into the breakout. The advantage of having a membership with Apex Investing, if you have an valuation account with Apex Trader Funding, well, I mean, you get access to the system that we use to trade and that I call out trades on every day. Either Lori or me or both of us. All right, so let's see here. So both are angling up. Right here into what? What are they angling up into? Yeah, traffic. Like that, what that is support has become resistance. Just like probably the same thing we looked at when we were looking at sniper trades. We were talking about how we had that support, then we had that resistance, remember? It's probably the exact same place on the chart. You can use kinetic versus IQ feed, but IQ feed gives you live support and kinetic doesn't. And since I'm trading real money, I like to, get live support. Thing is, kinetic is white labeling IQ feed. That's why they can't give you live support, because they have to take your ticket from email and then submit it to IQ feed and then come back to you. If it's not lining up, just reload your data. Make sure you have 5 days loading. Okay, now we got two angling down. So we could take that, right? This isn't an early entry. They're both angling down right here. We break the low. Not quite an established support line at this point, because we've only had one touch on it and we came back to it. And now we trail it once the solid line moves below the entry price. So we would have entered here. then our stop's going to be if it closes above that solid line. Or we can always tighten it to the dotted line if we see it coming into a major level. So now your stop would be like down here if it closes above this. By the way, what is that right there? Yeah, we just made 40 points on that simplicity. So 40 points. I mean, 40 freaking points. Can you trade small? Can you trade micros on this and still do well? Yeah, you don't have to trade minis. A lot of people go, it's too hard with, it's because you're trading too heavy. You know, like just trade micros. Yeah, I'll take an LRE far into a trade. So that went up, pulled back to within 2 points, and there we go. Profitable LRE. All right, so at that point, if you hadn't already closed out with this going sideways, well, you might have decided to close out, but if you didn't, then whenever that closed above that solid line, then you'd be out of the trade. So, yep, and this would be a second LRE that you could take. I personally would be more cautious with it because of this. Because all this chop we're in. So you're basically taking an LRE right in the chop. It would have worked, but I'm okay with missing out on trades. I'd always wish I have something I don't, as have something I wish I didn't. All right, now we got another short. If it breaks the low, didn't break the low. Now we got another short. It broke the low. Closed above, but we haven't moved our stop yet. This one's getting painful, so I'd probably be out of the trade by now. Yeah. Gives you a long, right back up into that chop. Wouldn't take it. Yeah, the trade copier works with IQ feed. All right, now we got a short. An LRE that's profitable. Short still going. And it's out. Did y'all follow along on that? Yeah, 100-point move. You can look at the simplicity chart in the Elite Room. You have to be a gold member to get access to the simplicity chart on your screen. Yeah, when I get in that short, right here where both are angling down, and it breaks the low. So you're in here, your stop is, if it closes above this high, and then you move your stop once it gets to break even, the solid line gets below break even, and then you control it with it waiting for it to close above the solid line. It hasn't done it yet. Turns green, you're just leaving it up here. Turns solid again, you're moving it down, and then right here it closes above the solid line. You don't have to pay extra for data as a gold member, but to get access to simplicity, you need the CBOE indices. And so you'll need like an IQ feed or a kinetic subscription, and you can get a 7-day free trial to IQ feed. So if y'all are wondering, how did I have those kind of results that I showed earlier? Does that make more sense? I mean, I'm doing a lot of contracts, but I mean, I'm doing 30. So let's just say you were doing like 1. Okay, that's still $1,000. If you're trailing, you would have got out at 10:47:30 when it closed above the solid line. So yeah, this is being recorded. It'll be posted on Facebook.com/ApexInvesting and YouTube.com/ApexInvesting. So you also could have got out at the 1 dev. That wouldn't have been a bad move. For trader funding, how would you set position size? 1 contract, maybe 2, like 1 contract for like a $50,000 account. I stay in, and I usually stay in the trade until it's, well, I mean, I take profits, but if I'm trailing, so the question is like when I might go out, when we might have a simplicity long. I'm going to look at the market. I'm going to see if there's levels in the way. I'm going to see, is it just a pullback? Because simplicity, we're looking for, trends. And I'm going to stay in the trade until it tells me to get out of the trade. I do not scale out of trades. That's a big mistake traders make. I scale into trades. Like, why scale out of what's working? Like, you scale into what's working. And like one of the ways I'll scale in is like with LREs and things like that. Do you ever have a limit on how big of an initial stop one should have? I personally don't like doing anything over 20 points. Nope. I don't have any limit. I just adjust my size according to the stop. The chart tells me where my stop should be. This entry is right here on this little bar right here. When it broke it by 2 ticks, we're in right there. Did 1041 close above the solid line? Nope, it closed just below it. 1041.30. No, I don't have smaller targets. Unless it's a really slow day, then I may like go in and grab it at a level or whatever. But today was a fast day. Bonds were like flying up, markets flying down. You can use an ATM or you can manually add it. LREs have 10-point targets during market hours and 5-point targets outside of market hours. Yeah, the dev's way down here. I mean, that's 369 down to 38. Just 30 points away. When it comes down to that dev, you could always tighten up to the dotted line to make sure it breaks through. We do them most weeks. We're getting back into the habit of it now that the holidays are over. How late is too late to get into simplicity? Well, I mean, you need to enter your order right when it happens. I use market orders, so my order doesn't get skipped. Where more valid signals, sniper simplicity? Well, sniper is more precise. very objective. As you saw, every trade we went over, we won. Simplicity takes a little bit more reading the market, so you don't just take every simplicity trade. Is this bar an LRE? Yeah, it is. Well, let's see here. 78. No, it's not. Because there's like 6 points. Because it's based on the previous closed solid line. I talk about simplicity in the room all the time. That's where I mentor it. So that way everybody can learn at once. And live. All right. Well, we are to our time here. So just a reminder for you before we wrap up. 50% off any new evaluations with Apex code APEX50. And again, tomorrow's the last day for the $1 million performance account giveaway where you can win a 100K account. So any new evaluations you sign up for or any resets. And I'll make the announcement the day after on the 6th. So y'all are very welcome, and I'm glad y'all enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. Y'all have a fantastic evening, and I will see you tomorrow morning in the room. Check us out at ApexInvesting.com. Thank you.